Alright, we gotta do another video. Do we feel like headphones on or off? Headphones off. I don't even know if I like what I'm wearing. Oh, I'm wearing a robotics shirt. Oh, what a nerd. That's such a me thing. Hi people, welcome back. It's me again. It's this face. Nobody ever asked for that, but welcome to my third semester review at Brown University. Third semester at an Ivy League. First semester ever on campus. First ever semester of college. First ever semester of the Ivy League on campus. Dude, so many clickbait titles that I can use. Quality content. Let's get started with this video. Here we go. Also, I'm recording this very close to the new year, so if it's 2022, Happy New Year. Hopefully you all had a safe and happy holidays. Looking forward to this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to be better. Though, with the new Omicron variant, we're going to have a fun time. I think Harvard has already gone virtual for the first few weeks, or maybe the first semester. I don't know. I actually haven't looked it up. Maybe I'll put a little article here. But yeah, fingers crossed that things get better. Continuing on with the video. Stop procrastinating, Austin. So it's the first time on campus for me, so that's definitely something I had to get used to. It took me about 2 or 3 weeks to get used to everything, where things were, when I needed to be places, knowing what names corresponded to what buildings, and I'm like, I definitely have a solid idea of where I'm going, but it all makes sense now. First thing on the docket, housing. If you want to see my move-in vlog, or what my dorm looks like, you can, or what my room looks like, you can watch the move-in vlog, which is going to be over here somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think I have a lot to contribute because I live in a program house, and it happens to be one of the houses that is an actual house, and Brown bought. It's like an actual house style. So it's not necessarily representative of your typical dorm room. Check the move-in vlog if you want to see what I did, how everything was set up, what my room looks like. Luckily, I live close enough to home, so I brought a ridiculous amount of things with me. If you have a few electronics, definitely bring a surge protector or power splitter with a longer extension cable, because at least in my room, power outlets are kind of sparse. I'm going to talk about all the tech things because I'm a tech nerd. Wi-Fi is solid. There was one major outage I remember on campus. Luckily, the professor whose assignment I had due that night actually moved the assignment one day to compensate for that weird outage crisis, so it wasn't a super huge deal. Otherwise, everything is fairly clean. Shared bathrooms are usually cleaned, I believe, every 2 to 3 days. I'm not 100% sure. Food is fine. I mean, okay, so I have an Asian mom that cooks the greatest food in the entire world, so she set the bar ridiculously high, and obviously college food probably can't match that, and it doesn't. There's a fair amount of variety when it comes to the food, and things do rotate. If you go to dining.brown.edu during an active semester, you'll be able to see what food they have for that current day as well as the next few days, so you can get a good idea, and it can definitely help you plan. I didn't plan any of my meals, I just went when I felt like it, but it can definitely help you plan. It tells you everything that's going to be at that dining hall when you go in that day. In terms of dietary restrictions, I had a nut I have a nut allergy, so I had to think about that. Honestly, if you have a nut allergy, don't worry about it. My famous last words. I didn't have any run-ins to nuts, and this is down to my personal experience. You might react differently if you have a nut allergy, but my experience with nuts, Brown Dining Services doesn't use peanut oil. Great, that's a good start. And they clearly label anything that has nuts in it. I've rarely seen anything that has nuts in it, and if anything's gonna have nuts, it's gonna be the desserts. They'll clearly label it. The only weird thing, they had open tubs of peanut butter just hanging around, and they're not small. They're big tubs of just peanut butter, and I was just confused on why you just leave those open. If my mom's food is a 10 out of 10, which it is, but 7? I don't think I've had a run-in with bad food. It's just high traffic times where there's just a long line, and sometimes they just run out and you have to wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes just for food to come out. Dining services, from what I know, is fairly understaffed, so it's kind of a struggle. Brown, spend more of your endowment. We know you made a lot of money this year. If you can plan around high traffic times, which is usually between 11 and 3, just after classes end, those are high traffic times. If you can go just before classes end, you'll be set. Okay, so academics. I mean, it is school after all, so I do have to talk about it. I took 4 classes this semester: CS 33, which is an intro to systems programming, Math 180, which is Calc 3, Econ 1110, which is intermediate microeconomics, and Engine 90, which is like a intro to business management course, which I took pass-fail, because I like to take at least one class per semester, class pass-fail, just to like lessen the load, so I don't have to take 3 classes. 3 classes is considered the bare minimum for a full-time student, and 5 classes I would consider insanity. So if I do take 5 classes some semester, please do call a therapist, because I have probably gone insane and ripped my hair out. Classes were challenging, but they were fine overall. One of my classes was fully asynchronous, which was Calc 3, but to be honest, I'm totally fine with that because take-home exams are so much better with Calc than doing an in-person exam, because my Calc math knowledge is questionable at best. CS 33, Econ, and Engine were all in person. They're fairly large classes. I think Econ was probably like 50 in my section. CS and Engine both use fairly large lecture halls, and there's a lot of people there. Also, like, classes were so big, I didn't really interact with people in classes. And most of the time, when classes were over, I just wanted to leave, so I just didn't talk with my classmates. Also, given that there were like sometimes 100 students in a classroom, it's kind of hard to do, but just something I thought about. But none of my friends are in any of my classes, which is kind of sad. So yeah. In terms of interaction with like professors and such, I didn't interact that much with my professors or talk to them, actually. I never went to office hours, which I said I would during my second semester review, but then I didn't. TAs and professors are fairly accessible most of the time. Most of my classes used Ed, which is like a question forum thing that we can post questions online and they can answer them online without even like having to really interact with us. Just helped save me time. I did have a fair few questions about CS, so I did post them on Ed instead of going to TA hours or instead of going to office hours with the professor. But yeah. In terms of like studying and working on stuff, a lot of the time I spent it in my room because I have my setup in my room. I like to spend a lot of time there. I think it was fairly split between my room and the libraries. Over the semester, I slowly began to move more towards the libraries just because the libraries just offer something different just for me to refresh and take a walk, I guess, that too. But yeah, mainly I don't know what else to say in academics. I mean, classes were fine. Going back to in-person exams definitely felt weird. Luckily, I only had one set of in-person exams, which is in Econ, but the PTSD was coming back from high school, and that was not fun, but yeah. Can I help you?
I want to know if you buy me a dog.
No. I'm not buying her a dog. If you do have any questions about classes, that's what the comments section is for. I'm happy to answer questions. I don't think I'm very good at talking about classes because I just usually say, it was fine. Pause. Okay, I would recommend 2 things if you're interested with classes and want to know what they're like. First thing is obviously go and shop them. The first 2 weeks of classes is a shopping period, and shopping the class and just getting an understanding of what it's like is definitely helpful. The other thing is using the critical review. It's students submitted responses of what the class is like, and it gives you like a general idea of like hours and how students felt about the class, and it's fairly helpful, so I would also recommend that. Okay, back to the video. Okay, so like of the 3 libraries, my least favorite is probably the Hay. It is the aesthetic library, I will give it that, but it's also the quietest, which means if you drop something, it like echoes through the whole hall and makes noises, and then everybody looks at you, which is not fun. Also, they have the worst plugs. My laptop charger does not like to stay in the plug, which just made me annoyed. My second favorite library is the Sci-Li. It's a tall building that's, as people would say, disgusting. I don't actually think it looks that bad. It's fine. I usually go to the 13th floor and just sit there and grind, and there's a nice view up there. I will give it that. By process of elimination, the one that sucks the least is the Rock. It just has a lot of spaces and a lot of different places that I can go to, and I enjoy it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, so outside of academics, I didn't have too much free time. A lot of my time was spent studying and in my was studying in the library or in a dorm or eating. But the time that I did have, since I have the setup, I did play a fair amount of video games in my free time. I like to call it my stress relief. I don't think my mom approves, but it is what it is. I practiced Taekwondo. I competed in Taekwondo, though I didn't do very well. It's for a first ever tournament. I don't think it was the worst, but it wasn't too hot. Outside of Brown Taekwondo, I'm also a part of Brown Esports. I'm on the e-board. And I facilitate internal operations, and we are working on a bunch of projects like getting a dedicated space for gaming and all that fun stuff. We've got a Discord channel or Discord server if you want to click that link down there. Casual and competitive gaming. We've got like 1,600 members. It's fun. Also, I got a crap ton of boba. So Kung Fu tea or 10-1 tea or the other one. I forgot the other one. Please, can I get a sponsorship? Because boba's expensive. Thanks. I think that summarizes the main points of the semester, and like especially a first semester on campus thing. And welcome to the bad section. Here's everything that was kind of questionable. Noise isn't the worst. The house that I live in is like 9,000 years old, so noise basically penetrated every single wall in the house. So I could hear a lot of parties, especially around I think Halloween. Noise from Thayer, which is like the street with all the restaurants on it. There's like a lot of noise from cars. I appreciate a nice sounding car. At like midnight, I don't need to hear you revving to 6,000 RPM, okay? Kind of annoying. I didn't like that. Other things, long lines. There were a fair amount of long lines, especially when getting food, as I mentioned earlier, in the dining halls. Especially straight after a class, the lines are extremely long, but I spent a fair amount of time in a line waiting for food. In-person exams kind of sucked, not gonna lie. I took virtual exams for granted, and having to memorize things, especially when the in-person exams are closed notes, it's just bringing me back to high school. My in-person exams, they were fine, but I didn't like it. And I think all of that comes down to my time management, which wasn't too hot. I think that's what sucked the most. I was, especially near the end of the semester, when everything kind of ramps up and it falls apart, my stress was kind of high. Also, personal events did not help my stress and my mental status. Stress before exams because of procrastination. I was doing some cramming, not gonna lie. The day or two before, I was like, oh, I got an exam the next day, and this is not a good sign. Also, my final exam for Engine, 5 hours. Who schedules a 5-hour exam? I don't have the concentration for a 2-hour exam. Overall, a positive semester just because it's first time back on campus, and it feels great to be in person with people, and just seeing people's faces is so much better than a virtual screen. I can live with a virtual screen, don't get me wrong. Let's be honest, I spend 90% of my time in front of a screen anyway. But yeah, here are 5 tips that I'd recommend for your first semester on campus, or just in general for your next semester. Step 1 is definitely try to get into a rhythm of things, and side note, schedule extra time for stuff, especially if you're coming from a virtual setting. I had to factor in extra weird time for walking places and getting food. I used to just walk downstairs and get food, and it took me 15 minutes to eat, but now food is kind of an ordeal. It takes an hour. That just takes an extra amount of time that you just don't factor in when you're going virtual. And definitely get into a rhythm. My sleep schedule wasn't great. I would usually go to bed around 1 and wake up around 9 or 10. Luckily, I didn't have any early classes that I had to go to most of the time. Tip number 2, I definitely say take advantage of late days and extensions on stuff. But however, let me be clear, only if you need it. If you're spending time playing video games like I do and then using late days, that's not needing it. My CS class, I had 6 late days to use. I think I only used 3. I feel like I would have been far less stressed if I had used all 6 and spread them out more evenly rather than just not using some days at all. It kind of just felt like they were just wasted. My econ class, absolutely no leniency at all when it comes to assignments. You're if you pass it in late, you get a 0, and I'm okay, fine. Yeah, some classes are just annoying that way, but if you have late days or if you have some leniency at something that the professor notes, take advantage of it. Only if you need it, though. Tip number 3, once you finish something big, or finish a section on a homework or a project, or finish a homework problem set, take a break. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be super long. You can take a break for 15 minutes. You can take a break for 5. Play a video game. Watch a YouTube video. Walk outside. Watch some squirrels. I don't know. But yeah, just try taking a break after you finish something, because I feel like I don't have a great attention span. I'm assuming that's most of you, your attention span is probably pretty short. So taking a break once in a while definitely helps, or else you'll probably just burn out pretty quickly. Number 4, try to get involved with like at least one extracurricular. I got involved with Taekwondo. Actually, during my virtual semester, I got involved with esports, and I became a vice president on the e-board there, and that's one of my fun things I do, play video games with other people and like do administrative stuff, which, not gonna lie, I kind of found enjoyable because I'm power hungry. But yeah, also doing Taekwondo, great extracurricular, took my mind off things. Also, being in a group outside your classes and being with people outside of maybe your dorm group or main group of friends, just being in a different group is also beneficial, just getting to know people. I don't know, college is all about networking nowadays, isn't it? Tip number 5, if you're stressed, go and talk to people. Whether that be like CAPS, I know Brown's on campus counseling services. From my friends, I've heard mixed results. Try it, I guess. But definitely try to talk to friends, talk to them about your problems, try to vent a little bit, and just having some other person that you trust hear about what you're struggling with in classes, because they might also feel the same. I talk to I consider one of my close friends on campus a lot about random shenanigans, as well as some of my friends at home. Yeah, that's my 5 tips. Hopefully those are helpful. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Happy holidays, happy new year if you're watching this around then. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions or things you want to see or things you want to know, feel free to DM me, throw something in the comments section. If you like the video, hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. I hope to see you all soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.